Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2500 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. In today's Wisdom Nugget, we'll be exploring Psalm chapter 33, verses 13 through 17 from the New Living Translation. These verses are filled with incredible insights into the nature of God's watchfulness over humanity, His wisdom in assessing our hearts, and the limitations of human strength. We're invited to recognize that while we might rely on the various sources for strength and security, ultimately, God alone is our true source for help and hope. Let's start by reading these verses. Psalm chapter 33, verses 13 through 17. The Lord looks down from heaven and sees the whole human race. From His throne He observes all who live on earth. He made their hearts, and so He understands everything they do. The best equipped army cannot save a king, nor is great strength enough to save a warrior. Don't count on your war horses to give you victory. For all of its strength, it cannot save you. Starting with verses 13 and 14, we're given an incredible image of God's position and His all-seeing nature. The Lord looks down from heaven and sees the whole human race. From His throne, He observes all who live on earth. Here we're reminded of God's perspective is vastly different than ours. He sits enthroned above us, seeing everything, every action, every choice, every hidden motive. From His heavenly vantage point, He isn't limited like we are by time, location, or understanding. When we think about God seeing us, it's important for us to remember His vision is not just surface-level glance. God is fully aware of each life, each heart, and every thought. He isn't just watching, He is profoundly aware and invested. In our fast-paced world, it can be easy to feel unnoticed or even insignificant. But these verses remind us that no one escapes God's attention. He is aware of our entire human race, yet He cares about each individual person. This truth should be both humbling and comforting. To know that the Creator of the universe watches over us with care gives us this assurance. We are not alone, unnoticed, or left to wander aimlessly. God sees each of us, and He is personally aware of what we face, what we need, and what weighs on our hearts. Verse 15 takes this even further by revealing that God doesn't just observe us from a distance, He understands the depths of our hearts. The verse says, He made their hearts, so He understands everything they do. This is a profound truth. Since God crafted our hearts, our innermost being, He has an intimate understanding of who we are and why we act as we do. When David says that God understands everything we do, it is a reminder that God's knowledge of us goes beyond mere observation. He sees beyond appearances, beyond the words we say, and even beyond the actions we take. He understands our motives, our struggles, our fears, and our hopes. There's nothing about us that's hidden from Him. In one sense, this truth is comforting. God knows our intentions, even when we fail to live up to them. He knows the battles that we fight, the desires we hold close, and the reasons behind our actions. Even when others misunderstand or judge us, God knows the truth. In another sense, though, it also calls us to humility. There's no pretending with God, no hiding behind masks or facades. He knows us fully, calling us to live honestly with integrity before Him. This is an invitation to trust God with our innermost thoughts and feelings, knowing that He understands us completely. We can come to Him openly without fear of being misjudged or misunderstood. He is the one who made our hearts, and He is the one who understands us like no other. Verses 16 and 17 shift our attention to the limitations of human power and resources. The best equipped army cannot save a king, nor is great strength enough to save a warrior. Don't count on your war horses to give you victory. For all of its strength, it cannot save you. Here David contrasts the power of human strength with the power of God. He is addressing a common human tendency to rely on earthly sources of securities, such as armies, strength, and resources, rather than placing our trust in God. In the ancient times, a strong army with well-trained war horses symbolized power and protection. Kings depended on their armies, and warriors relied on their physical strength or war horses to secure victory. But David reminds us that, in the end, these things are limited. No amount of physical strength, military power, or human effort can provide the security that only God can offer. These verses call us to examine where we place our trust. Do we rely on our resources, abilities, or plans as our primary security source? While planning, effort, and strength have their place, they are ultimately insufficient when compared to God's power. we are reminded that earthly resources have limit, no matter how impressive. Only God's power is infinite and dependable. In our context today, we may not rely on armies or war horses, but we often look to other forms of security. This might be a financial stability, career, or personal skills. While these things can be valuable, they are not where our ultimate trust should lie. When we face challenges and uncertainties, it's easy to turn to what seems to be most tangible or controllable. But David urges us to look beyond the temporary and trust the one who holds all things in his hands. Psalm 33 verses 13 through 17 remind us of a profound truth. God sees us, knows us, and understands us like no one else. His perspective is higher than ours, his knowledge is more profound, and his power is unmatched. These verses encourage us to recognize the limitations of human strength and resources and to place our trust entirely in God. Knowing God looks upon us from heaven with awareness and understanding should bring us peace and security. We don't have to strive for his attention or worry that he has forgotten us. He is always watching, caring, and ready to provide whatever we truly need. Moreover, understanding that God has crafted our hearts, he knows every detail of our lives and calls us to live in openness and honesty before him. No part of us is hidden from him. Because of that, we can trust him with our deepest struggles, desires, and fears. Finally, these verses challenge us to evaluate where we place our trust. Human strength and resources have their place, but they are not what ultimately sustains us. Whether it is physical strength, financial security, or any other earthly power, no one can replace the strength and security that God provides us. Only he is our true source of salvation and victory. So as we go about the day, let's hold on to these truths. Let's live with assurance that God sees us and knows us fully. And let's place our trust in his unchanging power rather than temporary human resources. Thank you for joining me today on this journey through Psalm 33. Until the next time, my friends, may God's wisdom guide our steps, and may his love fill our hearts with peace. And if you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, and most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you next time for more daily wisdom.